Thank you very much for my nice introduction to the Global Ayurveda Festival 2021, fourth festival it is going to be. Honorable Chairman of this session, Professor S.S. Savrikarji, Co-Chairperson Dr. M.P. Ishwar Sharma, and Coordinator of this session, Dr. J.N. Damodaran, and my co-speakers who are going to speak after me in this session. The given subject on the same topic, immunomodulation, to me particularly is related to the research with the title Scope and Challenges of Research on Immunomodulatory Potential of Ayurveda during COVID-19 era. Friends, when this COVID-19 pandemic broke up in the last year's January, February, and in March when the lockdown happened, immediately Ayurveda Fraternity took a very proactive steps and also formulated a strategy how the Ayurveda people should address this problem. And it was a consensus from the Ayurveda fraternity that it has to be dealt on the lines of Vata Shleshmika Jwara, and Dr. Mr. I'm forgetting now who is now in WHO. It's out of my mind. And he had a very close discussion with Medanta where he was already working.
Geeta Krishnan, Dr. Geeta Krishnan.
Geeta Krishnan, because his name and his gender do not match. That's why I usually forget him. So Dr. Geeta Krishnan has a very close talk with the Vedanta hospital doctors where he was earlier working, and they agreed that yes, we can try this formulation compound given in the Vata Shleshmika Jwara by Bhagavata, that is Guruchi Pipli Yoga. That is in Guruchi Kwat, Pipli was added, and that was agreed upon to be given, and CCRS agreed to contribute in this research, and in terms of manpower, drug supply and all that we also contributed, and this trial was started and last year in the month of I think May we could start this trial. And the modern science people with the progress of the disease, they also had multiple strategies like this hydroxychloroquine, many antiviral drugs, and so many, which everything has been discussed, and many objections from WHO and so many things has come up, and ultimately a consensus was made that those who has a good immunity, they either don't suffer, or if they do suffer, they don't lead into any complications of the problem, and a immunomodulatory approach was suggested, like Dr. Savrikar gave a very enlightening talk before my speech, and they came out with so many dietary supplements and new vitamin supplements, and suggested that these things should be taken. Friends, and same way, Ministry of Ayush made a task force, and that task force also came up with a consensus. That task force was made under the guidance of the Niti Aayog, Government of India, and they also suggested certain medicines that these should be tried. And in the first hand, Guruji, number two Ashwagandha, and third was Glycyrrhiza glabra, Yashti Madhu, and the fourth drug which CCRA proposed, which we have already tried in viral rhinovirus, and we found that the results are so good that after 3 days, the flu-like illness, common flu,
Sir,
this trial started, and we put studies which were taken up by the Central Council for Research in Ayurvedic Sciences. Some studies were under the ambit of this task force, and many more studies we took at our own level, and the results of these studies has been, I think, one or two studies are left to be completed, and other studies have been completed. Analysis is over, and more than 10 studies we have already submitted for publication in the reputed journals. Then what is the outcome which I can tell you? These drugs, wherever it was done in the modern institutions, it was given as a add-on therapy. Whereas in certain Ayurvedic institutions, these drugs were tried standalone also. In Tibia College, Krolwag, Ayurveda and Tibia Unani College, Krolwag, and Chaudhary Brahm Prakash at Davarkheda, New Delhi, these drugs were tried standalone, and at many other places, like we also supported the study at Haryana, Kurukshetra, and Bhopal in Madhya Pradesh, wherein they also had the trial in comparison, wherein in Bhopal, one of the group was given the HCQ and other group was given only Guruchi. And when the results were seen in this study, it was very much comparable, and better results. Early recovery with this Guruchi group was there rather than that of HCQ. And likewise, the results are, if not bad, then they are comparable with the whatever the modern suggested protocol was there. So there was a lot of scope for immunomodulatory effect, and all the parameters, all the protocols were decided by a high-level committee, and all immunomodulatory immune response parameters, objective parameters like inflammatory parameters, interleukins, as well as CRP, etc., were kept in the objective outcome measures, and these outcomes are already under the process of evaluation. This scope and the direction of the Niti Aayog led made task force gave a very good response from the public also, and the advisory what was given by the Ministry of Ayush in the very initial phase, that gave a very positive response across the country, and now it has now been accepted that the very low mortality and very less number of COVID patients in the country, the role of AYUSH and especially Ayurvedic interventions taken by the masses at their own and whatever is given by the government in the form of decoction and other medicines. These medicines were very simple: Guruchi, Sudarshan Ghanbati, and IU 64. These were the en masse program was done, and we addressed in one of the prophylactic study 20,000 of the 30,000 of the patients across the country in a different geographical position. And when it was compared with the historical control where these interventions were not done, the outbreak of the percentage of the infected patients in the areas where this intervention was done, it was quite low than that of the where it was not done. So this was the scope, and this scope has already been addressed, and a good response has been received, and the outcome will be very shortly published in the very reputed journals. Now, friends, I come to the challenges. What were the challenges? So, outrightly, I may tell you that whatever Professor Savrikar has already addressed, that the immunomodulatory effect cannot be achieved by a single drug or single molecule. Whatever the is expected from the contemporary health science, this in Ayurveda system of medicine, this is not possible with a single medicine. The immunomodulatory effect, if we start addressing this issue by single molecule and by going into the very specific parameters, objective parameters where immunoglobulins, inflammatory markers and all that is only addressed, then our Rasayan drugs, which are supposed to be immunomodulatory, immune enhancing, their evaluation is also incomplete, because the Rasayan does not only include immunomodulatory effect, it includes the overall and enrichment, overall health enhancing activity of all the building blocks of the body. So all those parameters, and this is basically Rasayan ultimately gives strength, bal, and that bal can be physical strength, that bal can be internal strength, which we can take as a part, one of the minor part as immunomodulatory, which protects from the diseases and which also slows down the progress of the already happened disease. So these two aspects, which Professor Savrikar has already explained in detail, I need not to go. This issue of the challenge of evaluating in the research these immunomodulatory so-called drugs like Ashwagandha, Shatabri, Yashti Madhu, and others also. This is a half-hearted evaluation of our products. Number two, this approach of only addressing by immunomodulatory effect is not justified. This is again a challenge in our system. Why it is a challenge? Because such flu-like illness, fevers or seasonal problems are addressed by our fraternity, by our system of medicine in a very simple measures, where sometimes medicines is not required, only hot water, rest, and abstaining from langan, I mean to say abstaining from proper food or very light diet. So these are managed according to the Rog Bal and Rogi Bal we are already doing. So the protocol has to be involved in that evaluation of the viral problems. But by addressing this problem by a single molecule was also one of the challenge, which was not showing the going to reflect the potential of our system. The other challenge which we find that the system of medicine as a Ayurveda was this message was also given from higher level, that let the very simple or asymptomatic or grade stage 1 or 2 patients be treated by Ayurvedic physicians by their own protocol, by simple medicines. But it was not allowed, and always it was stressed upon that where is the evidence. And I think there was no evidence about HCQ also. So the keeping the system away from the mainstream care was also one of the challenge which could not show the potential. And otherwise, our many physicians, I know many physicians, and they have also approached the council also, showing their protocol. We are using this, and we are this pathya and this apathya is being made for patients, and they are becoming COVID negative within a short span of 5 days, 3 days, 7 days. But this was not also allowed, and this was again a big challenge. In nutshell, I tell you, I want to convey from the research angle that because it was made mandatory that some research activities on immunomodulatory activity of the Ayurveda drugs has to be carried out. And friends, one another thing which we should keep in mind, that the CSIR, which is a collaboration in this activity of clinical trial along with Ministry of AYUSH, their approach and their ultimate aim is also very different. That is very essential for the economic growth of the country. In that way, they are thinking that if the immunomodulating effect is seen there, they are ultimately going to convert this into a phytopharmaceutical product, and that way they want to generate a commerce for the country. But has been taken by the restricted not to write, because this drug will not be in the domain of the AYUSH system as per Drug and Cosmetic Act. And I have proposed, and our Honorable Secretary has taken a very active note on it, and this has been discussed at a higher platform also. And maybe in the coming days, these phytopharmaceutical drugs, if they are developed from the materia medica of Ayurveda and AYUSH system of medicine, if the leads has been taken from the AYUSH system and they ultimately land into phytopharmaceutical product also, they will also be made eligible to be prescribed by Ayurvedic doctors. And this way, ministry is proposing, thinking to take it forward, so that there is a amendment in that phytopharmaceutical law may be made. So these potential and challenges, this much I want to convey. But ultimately, friends, the partial application of our system, either in clinical practice or in research, will not yield its potential, put forth its potential to the level it has. So we all have to strive hard at our educational level, that our Vedyas should not be derailed by the this modern thought process of reductionist approach of the modern medicine, and we should not trail on the same track as they. We should always think about our whole system approach, protocol involvement, and many more things has already been supported and conveyed by our learned chairperson, Dr. Savarikar ji. Thank you very much for giving me time to speak my experiences during the research on COVID. Thank you very much.